This week on the Slaptail Squad, we are talking about posers, exaggerators, and rear echelon motherfuckers that like to pretend they were badasses when they served. And of course, we will get distracted and talk about other things because this is the Slaptail Squad. So let's get slapping!
Slaptail Squad, assemble.
If you're listening to this, you're a member of the great Slaptail Nation, my nation. And who am I? Well, I'm the Beeve Man, master of the universe, creator of all things great and small, and commander-in-chief of the great Slaptail Nation army. And with me today, looking like an oversized Pepto-Bismol tablet, is the Rons.
Hey, B-Man, how's it going?
It's going excellent.
Big shout out to Ramande, who can join us this week on time.
That's sarcasm. Nicely done, Rons. Nicely done, Rons. Nicely done. And as the Rons has alluded, we are joined by the ever-fashionable special chocolate, our own personal pudding pop, Tremonde.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
A good evening, Tremonde.
Good evening.
Rons?
A good evening.
No, motherfucker, you're supposed to say yes. And then I say, good evening.
A good evening.
A good evening. You know, what's really fun for me is...
That's really fun.
You know how I've said that we're going to start giving a little brief synopsis of what we're doing on the podcast so that people are drawn in, because that's what a good podcast does. I've realized that is fun for us, but then when you go back and listen to the podcast and I edit it, I'm like, we kind of talked about that. We didn't necessarily talk about that. We talked about it a little, but that's fine.
Yeah.
That's why now I'm going to throw in there, we might talk about it. We might talk about it a lot. We might talk about it a little. We might not talk about it at all. It's the plan.
Oh, yeah. So, a big shout out once again to the Monsters Lair.
Why are we doing
No.
Why are you doing a shout out?
Why are we here?
That little soundbite that he put in about the vajayjay, and I thought that was so awesome. So
okay, well, you're ruining it. Just so you know, Tremonde, do you know what he's talking about?
I don't.
Did you know that the Rons, he's not an expert on human anatomy?
I am not.
Okay.
I don't know how the vajayjay works.
What's that? I'm sorry, Rons. What did?
I don't know how the vajayjay works.
Well, that sounds like an issue. It really does.
Oh, you actually put that as a soundbite. Thank you.
That's a total Ronism. That's a Ronism.
Ronism.
We should probably get that put on a shirt.
I don't know how the vajayjay works.
Yeah, we probably should.
Ron, you can become a meme.
I could.
If I was talented, I could make him into a meme, but I don't know how to do that stuff. You know what bothers me?
What bothers you?
Other than the overabundance of mosquitoes when we haven't had warm weather and all we've had is wet weather, and now it's finally warm up and you can't even go outside because of the mosquitoes and the ticks. But what really bothers me is people who want to profess that they are something that they are not. It really bothers me. I'm getting kind of tired. Well, okay. Let me not be a dick. Okay. Well, I'm a dick.
Whoa, there's a first.
No, I just said that I am. I changed it. I said, let me not be one, but then I decided that I was going to be one. I'm not going to name any names, but this is something that really bothers me. And if you're listening to this, you probably know who you are. No, but really probably you don't, because I think that posers are not, they seem to think that they're not posers when they really are. This is what bothers me. There seems to be this tendency for people who were in the military, who are veterans, or even people that are in active duty right now, to profess that they did things that they didn't do, or to allude that they did things that they didn't do, that they were something that they weren't. And I can't understand that mindset, because I don't do that. Rons doesn't do that. I mean, sure, we give Ron shit about the fact that he was a fueler and carried around a big black hose and stuck his big black hose in things and sprayed fluids all over the place from the big black hose. Sometimes he put his mouth on the big black hose. He liked to two-fist the big black
Sometimes he
hose.
with 2 hands.
And I think this all stems from the fact that
I don't know how the vajayjay works.
that's probably why he spent so much time with a big black hose. My point being is I don't understand the idea that you need to profess that you were something that you're not, or maybe you don't say that you were something, but you lead people to believe that you were something that you actually weren't.
Yeah. It's a need to feel important, right? Acceptable by society sometimes, or within oneself. I grew up with someone like that, not in the military service, but this kid was to say he was a constant liar is, I don't want to do discredit to he might be a bit better adult, but it's one of those things where, he stretched the reality of things constantly. Right. If you had something, he had that too. Right. And I couldn't put my mindset around it. Right. But as far as military services go, or for that matter, any career, you do want to feel important. You want to feel like you contributed, or maybe you're just that much of a narcissist that you need the accolades that go along with it.
I guess I don't understand the point of doing that. You're going to get caught eventually. Eventually somebody's going to call you out. And unless
it's like stolen valor.
No, I'm not even talking about that. We'll talk about that a little bit also, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm just kind of talking about the people that are in. Let's say that, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you put a picture on your Facebook or on your Instagram and it shows you in uniform and you're wearing something in your uniform that is typically only worn by members that do certain things. Like if you saw a picture of me, in my battle dress uniform from a million years ago, my camouflage uniform, where I didn't have any problems with popping button. I never popped a button. I don't know how Ron's did that, but I never popped a button off. Anyway, and I was wearing a certain headgear, certain type of a hat, if you will. I was wearing a maroon beret. And for people who know anything about the Army, most people...
raspberry beret.
No. Most people who know anything about the Army or whatever know, sort of, that people who wear a maroon beret typically are airborne. In other words, they're paratroopers. Okay, fine. What some people might not know is that you wear headgear, special headgear, not necessarily based on what you're qualified to do, but you could also wear the same headgear if you're attached to that unit. So for example, let's say you're in a reserve unit that is attached to an airborne division, and they all wear maroon berets to signify airborne. You would have to wear a maroon beret because you're part of that unit. So therefore it is a part of your uniform. It doesn't mean that you're airborne.
Airborne, right.
No, it doesn't. It just means that you have to wear that headgear because that's the unit that you're assigned to. When I was at Fort Bragg, when I first showed up to Fort Bragg, which apparently is being renamed Fort Liberty, which I'm not a fan of. Anyway, it'll always be Fort Bragg to me, so fuck you guys. Anyway, when I first showed up there...
Here you're talking about, let's not brag about being to the entire world, but now we're like going to be Fort Liberty? Why are we going to be Fort Liberty?
Liberty.
Let's go. Limu. Anyway, as I was saying, when I first arrived to Fort Bragg, I'm driving down the street. It's called Ardennes. I'm driving down Ardennes. I just got there. Pretty excited to be at the home of the airborne. I just got there from Germany. Driving down the street, and I was like, look, a green beret. Never seen a real... well, that's not true. I saw green berets when I was in Germany. I saw a green beret. I was like, sweet, look, a green beret. That's freaking cool. Tremonda, you might not know what a green beret is. That signifies somebody who's special forces.
Okay.
Driving down the road, there are elite people. There are elite troops, aside from Delta, which nobody knows what Delta looks like. They're totally secret squirrel. Anyway, so I'm driving down the road. I'm like, look, sweet, green beret. I'm driving a little farther down the road. There's another green beret. Well, there sure are a lot of green berets. Driving down the road a little farther, and I see a pregnant woman in tennis shoes wearing a green beret. And I was like, what? So now I'm really confused because
Well,
I'm
she
like,
took one for the team, I guess.
okay, I do not agree with what Ron's just said. If anybody's listening, I actually might edit that out. Anyway,
Really?
I was like,
Oh,
wait a minute.
wow.
So I'm really confused because back then, this was the 90s, the early 90s. Back then, there were no, and I don't even know if there are now. I know there are female Rangers, but back then there was no female Green Berets. No women wore the Green Beret. And I was like, what is going on? So the first thing I did when I got to my unit after we were unprocessed and everything and waiting to get our assignments, I was asking some of the folks there, I'm like, I was really confused. I saw a woman wearing a Green Beret. And they're like, no. They're attached to the Special Forces group. And that is the headgear for Special Forces and their attachments. So they get to wear the Green Beret. Thankfully, while I was there, that actually changed and they did not allow them to wear the Green Beret anymore. It was just this weird, bizarre thing that I saw. And I was like, wow, that's really weird. Anyway, so what I'm saying is I see this person who's always constantly posting pictures wearing a beret, and everybody's posting and saying, oh, what a badass this and badass that. And I'm sitting there going, that person was not airborne.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not correcting people. They're just saying, oh, what a badass picture. You look so cool and everything. And she's not, oh, I said she's not correcting people and saying, oh, guys, that's just the headgear that I had to wear because I was assigned to this unit, but I wasn't a paratrooper. So she's not correcting people. She's not saying that she was airborne, but she's not correcting anybody.
Right. I feel like we have become a society that like we enjoy like status and giving people like a very false identity. You know, like all the filters and things that we now use when we take pictures. You know, like we're always trying to like be liked. Social media definitely has not helped in any way with that. And I feel like social media is not being used to actually be social with people, you know, but it's just this status of needing to be or feel important, feel.
Would you say it's like an ego feeder?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because if you, one of those things with posers, if you look at social media, you're like, are they constantly posting shit just so people will say something? I think so.
But then even with that, the ego that you're boosting is false. Like
Is it
it's
really?
not.
I mean, if you really need that that self-indulgence of acceptance, what does that say about you that you have to do it?
If you need to be celebrated for something, be celebrated for what you have done.
Yeah.
Like the B-man was saying, like to say like I need this type of recognition. It's like you're being recognized for something that you are not even a part of.
Oh, that part I understand.
So
that's why I probably won't go to Pride event because I'm not gay, but I do want to go.
Oh, you can. Oh, jeez. You dumb, Ron. You dumb. I know you did that for a laugh, so I will allow it. But yes, you can go, Ron. That would be, Ron, you can go because you're an ally, you big dumbass.
Oh, I can. Oh, awesome, cool.
Even in Ron's ignorance, Tremonde, I would say Ron's is an ally.
yes,
Yeah. Even though he's just one ignorant motherfucker. You know what I really want to do, and this is slightly off topic, is what I really wanted to do, and I don't know if I probably would have to get permission to. Well, maybe not. I was thinking I might have to get permission to do this, but I really wanted to get a really nice portable recorder that I could hook the mics into and take that to Pride and go with Ron, just to ask him stupid shit and have Ron's try to interview people, because I think that would be fucking hilarious. And of course, so have Tremonti there also, because Tremonti, I think Tremonti and I could keep Ron from getting the shit beat out of him by a drag queen. But I do think it would be hilarious.
Around and are you saying that he would diffuse the situation?
I don't think. So well, Ron, you're not. You're not meaning to be offensive, but I think that you would ask some very interesting questions to people out of just sheer ignorance on your part, which I don't think would get you beat up if we're like, no, he's special in the head. It's okay.
Well, Tremonti would be a personal translator. Like what he really meant is the way, this is what he said. This is what he means.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
in Roz's defense,
oh.
I mean,
I don't know how the JJ works. So, no,
We're gonna get you one of those backpacks, Ron, with the little strap,
Oh yeah.
so we can.
I thought it would be fun. I'm like, but I was honestly really thinking about doing that. But I was like, do I have to get permission to do that? I mean, I'm assuming I don't, because people would have the right to talk to me or not. It doesn't matter.
That would be hilarious, and I don't see why you would.
I don't think I would have to get
You would just need their permission to be.
Yeah, I would just give their permission. I would just ask
your...
them personally, like, hey, do you mind if I do a podcast? This is my podcast. Do you mind if my ignorant friend here asks you some questions?
Oh, ignorant friend. I see that. So is that how you're going to describe Tremonde? I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't.
No. That's not me describing Tremonde. That would be me describing you.
That would be
anyway. Back to the whole thing.
No, well, actually, if you also, I'll see if they have it out there. But I went to a free comic book day a couple years ago, and I got interviewed, and they had a sheet for me to sign about releasing media stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm pretty sure there's a blanket statement out there that you
probably
could take around, and permission, of course.
I think that would be fun, but I don't know. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Why does this bother me so much? Because I look at, I don't brag about the stuff that I did. And if you compared me to your run-of-the-mill average person who served in the Army, I probably did way cooler stuff than most people did. But I don't sit there and tell people about it. And I don't sit there and act like I was awesome at anything. As a matter of fact, I like to say, quite honestly, that if anything, I was definitely average, if not slightly above average soldier. Not great, not awesome. I just did my job. I wasn't amazing. I never did anything amazing. I did stuff that most people don't get a chance to do just by virtue of the job that I had. But I wasn't special forces. You'll never hear me say I was a ranger or all this other stuff. And I don't profess anything. If you see a picture of me every Veterans Day, I post a picture of me on my Facebook. You can always see it. It's me in my battle dress uniform in Panama wearing a beret. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you zoom in, you can actually see the badges that I have on my chest. You can see that I was a paratrooper. I don't think you can see my patch, but I don't sit there and say I did all this other stuff. I don't profess anything. Anything that I tell you guys that I did is something that I actually did. And if anybody ever says, oh, I bet you did this and this and this, were you? And, some people will just nod their head and like, oh, man, I seen some shit. I don't do that. And matter of fact, I don't think when people ask, I don't think anybody's ever asked me if I've been to combat. Which is, incidentally, you should not ask people that. It's not a polite question. But if they ever ask me, I'd be like, no, I was in probably the longest period of time that we were ever at peace in the past 50, 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ron and I both, really.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think it's a bit of I think we want to be, when people do that, and I say we in general for everybody, is that we want to be a part of something bigger than us, right? And when all this stuff happens, right, you really would like to be included for the self-recognition, whether it's an ego feed or not. Now, some of us are, and I say us in general again, are humble enough to take a step back going, oh, no, I didn't do that, but please recognize those who did. And I'll refer to, jokingly, of course, the Gay Pride Festival that's going to come up, right? And you want me to go be a part of that and see that.
Do we call it Gay Pride? Is it Gay Pride? Is that what we call it, Rons?
Or the Kalamazoo Pride?
You could just literally call it Pride.
Right, but they go, oh, you're.
Or is it the Lesbian Pride? Or is it the Lesbian Pride Festival?
I don't know.
How about the Bisexual Pride Festival?
If that could go either way, I don't know. Oh, did you get that? Oh, bisexual. There you go. So, but they go, oh, you're
yeah, we got it. It wasn't funny, but we got it.
You did good, Ron.
Thank you. But oh, you're out there supporting LGBTQ NOP rights, and I'm like, no,
you can't do that.
I'm not out there supporting the rights. I had a friend who said, go check it out. And I'm like, okay.
Ron, you can't do that.
Do what?
You said LGBTQ, and then you said like LMNOP.
Well, every week there's a new damn letter added to the alphabet to this thing.
No, it's just
Right.
LGBTQIA Two Spirit.
What's IA?
The IA did get added, and so did the Two Spirit. So yes, it is. It does keep getting.
Yeah, so they added more letters other than
But the Q can mean more than one thing.
It can. What is it? I know it's. What does it stand for?
It can mean queer
I
or
wanna say-
questioning.
Queer.
Yeah.
Or questioning.
Okay,
Yeah.
questioning I get, right?
Queer you don't get?
But if it's going to be standing for queer, right? And I understand that I have gay friends as well, or
Like Tremonde?
Like Tremonde.
It's cool. I have a gay friend,
Isn't-
and he's
isn't
black.
that already mentioned in the first couple of letters?
Oh, now see, this is why I need to get permission to walk around with a recorder and a microphone with the Rons. I think that if I should do that though, I think that I should put him on a leash, like one of those harnesses the toddlers have.
Well,
And then I hold the other end
of a backpack.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
Put some candy in it, or and maybe a coupon for McDonald's or something for me.
Okay, so here's my point anyway. Now, to stop the old man from rambling, here's my point. If you're going to do those things, somebody's going to call you on it eventually. And then what do when they call you on it? You say either like the person that I'm talking about, as I said, she's never said that she was whatever. So if anybody ever says, oh, how many jumps do you have? As an example, that's a common question that people ask paratroopers. How many jumps do you got? She's going to say none. I wasn't airborne. And they're going to say, well, why are you posting all these pictures of you in this uniform wearing this headgear? She's going to say, oh, well, that's the unit I was assigned to. I never said I was airborne. Comme si, comme ça. Whatever that means. I don't know.
But a lot of us, or I should say some of us, have this ability to draw ourselves back and not take stock in our own self as far as an ego goes.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
What are you talking about?
What?
Can you please explain what are you talking about? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. A lot of us.
I was trying to be. No, you're right. I should just let the words fly versus trying to think it out. So, what I think basically, and then once again, when I say I think, I don't know how the VJJ works. I don't know how the VJJ works. Some of us know how to take a step back and say, hey, I wasn't a part of that. Right. And a lot of us just go with the punches and say, this is something cool I get recognition for. I don't care because I just don't care about the fallout. If there's going to be any fallout, no one's going to call me on it. And when you're in the military, right, the only people that ever call you out on this are the military.
Yes. And that's the point. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So what happens when somebody calls this person out? As I said, she's never said this, and this. But here's what happened to me recently. Now, I think that probably most of the people that know me, because being in the Army was a huge part of my life. To me, that was the birth. My birth was being in the Army. And most of my friends know that I was in the Army. Most of my friends probably don't know what I did in the Army. But what I can't tolerate is when somebody talks big shit about what they did in the military. And what I do is I kind of sit in the background. And this happened at our dojo a few months ago. Somebody came in, wanted to do one of the classes with us, did one of the classes with us, was not very fit, was kind of doughy, whatever. I don't care. Be you. I don't care. But they kept mentioning, oh, yeah, this is kind of like when I had to do my hand-to-hand training in the Army. And they kept mentioning all these different things. And they kept saying, oh, yeah, when I was in the Army and all this other stuff. And finally, I just said, oh, you were in the Army? And they're like, yeah, I was, I was in here and there. I was like, oh, really? What was your MOS? Now, of course, Tremonde, just so you know, MOS means military occupational specialty, if memory serves me right. That means, what was your job?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, I was 11 Bravo. And in my language, which is a different nomenclature for Air Force and everything, 11 Bravo means infantry. And I said, oh, really? I'm like, oh, okay. That's cool. I'm like, where were you at? He's like, oh, I was at Fort Benning. I'm like, well, where were you at after that? That's where you were stationed, was Fort Benning? He's like, well, I'm like, because, I was 11 Bravo, 2P, 3P, 4P, whatever. I'm like, I was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division. What were you? Oh, well, I actually didn't make it out of basic training, and I had to get out because of this reason, as I injured myself or whatever. I'm like, oh, so you're talking big shit that you were in the Army, telling everybody here that you were in the Army, but you technically weren't because you never made it past your training. So you never really were, quote, what we consider in the Army. But you're professing that you were until somebody like me catches you and asks you some questions. And he never came back. Once again, the B man, 49 years old, scaring off a 20-something-year-old, but whatever. I just can't tell. That shit bothers me.
People enjoy lying, and they lie until they're caught, and either they're going to stop lying at that point or they're going to keep lying.
Or, and I'm not saying you're wrong, the man. What they also do is they don't tell you all the details. They let you come to your own conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So while he was in the Army and he was probably 11 Bravo, as you said, right? How far did he go? And the B man's the one that pushed the issue, saying, "Oh, really? So were you here, here, and here, and here? And did you do this?" It's like, oh crap. No, I may have been 11 Bravo, but I did not do all those things. In fact, I got, whatever. So you're the one that said, pushed the issue, found out more. He told the truth, but he didn't elaborate on that until someone called his bullshit on it.
Well, you know what bothers me? Oh, go ahead, Ron. Go ahead.
I still think that's a liar, because that person is intentionally knowing what not to share, or what
No, I get that. They're not really lying, but they're not in sharing everything. It's up for you to question what he did. Now, if you want to come to your own conclusion, think he's a hero, oh my gosh, that's on you. Mm-hmm. And I get that, right? Because he's like, oh yeah, I was in the Army. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for your service. But I know the B-man hates that. But thank you for service. Like, oh, and he gets this big ego boost until someone who was ex-military going, oh, where did you serve? What did you do? And now he's got to fill in the blanks. Like, you didn't serve at all. You
you never made it out of training. You never made it out of boot training. If you never made it out of boot, you weren't in this. I don't know what they tell you, Rons, but they told us, they're like, yeah, okay, you graduate from basic training, you go to AIT. You're not in the military until you graduate AIT, technically, from a technical sense. Until you've actually graduated, they're like, you're not technically one of us. That's what they always told us. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but they basically say, unless you've made it past your initial training, you're not in, because you're still basically in that whole, think of it as like a probationary period of time to see if you can actually make it
that would
through.
Make sense. I think that would be okay across the board for all the military services.
But anyway,
because, you go through a tech school.
What bothers me is I'm not like trying to be a dick. It's just that all the people that I know that served didn't brag about it all the fucking time. Like, they didn't say, oh, when I was doing this, I was doing this. And you're like, oh, okay. I'll take, an example is my buddy Chris, who passed away. When I first met Chris, I was in this National Guard unit, and most of the people that I was in the National Guard unit with had only ever been in the National Guard. They hadn't been in the regular military. And when I first met Chris, I was super excited because Chris had been in the 101st Airborne Division. He'd been in the Big Red One, the 1st Infantry Division. He'd been in the 82nd Airborne Division. And when I met Chris had all the same badges I had. He had a combat infantryman badge and an expert infantryman's badge, parachute badge, and air assault badge. And when I met Chris, I was like, fuck, finally, somebody that I can relate to. And we were instant friends, because I had not ran into anybody the entire time that I've been out who had done the same shit that I did. And so really, when it amazes me that in all the people that I've met in all these years, I still haven't met anybody who did the same shit as me. I've met people who did way cooler shit than me, but the majority of the people I've met have not done the same stuff that I did, which is crazy to me. So I'm always looking. So I was like, I wasn't really trying to be a dick to the kid, but I was like, maybe this is somebody that I can actually relate to. Let me test the waters and see how full of shit he is. And maybe he wouldn't have been.
I wonder if it's a maturity thing that they have, though they sign up to to serve and have a understanding, they have not really had a greater depth of appreciation for what it is they're actually doing because they haven't experienced.
I don't think you get it. I don't think you get an appreciation for it until you get the fuck out. Honestly,
right, but I mean, like your understanding of what you're doing, that sense of look at me like that starts to go away because you realize you are literally in a fight daily, and it's a lot different feeling when you're 6 months overseas as opposed to you're only 6 months in boot camp,
No, I understand what you're saying. Is like you're not really a part of something until, as the B-man said, you graduate, right?
Right.
But until then, it's like you want to be a part of something bigger than you, or you want to, you want people to believe you are. Give an example, and I know the B-man's going to rip on me, so I'll just say it anyway. Is that being a black belt, right? How many people go through every style of martial art there is, whatever, right? And they get to a certain point, and they brag about whatever color they stopped at, and they go, "Oh, I did that, and then I injured myself or whatever. But I'm this color belt." Okay. Do you plan on going back? No. But you should accept me that I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, anybody who has made it to the rank of the black belt, most of them know that your training doesn't stop. It never stops. It just continues on at maybe a deeper understanding sometimes, or
I've yet to see that Ron's has a deeper understanding. By the way,
you're right. I do not have a deeper understanding. But anybody who has that, or they're humble, they actually get humbled by it, that they don't go around going, "Oh."
See, I would challenge you to think that. So, okay, so I'm going to be a dick because that's my thing as the beef man.
Gee, not like I fucking called that, did I?
I would consider you. This is what bothers me about the Rons, even though it's funny. But this is what bothers me about the Rons is he can't have a conversation with a normal human being without telling them that he's a martial artist.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And because of that, even though he is one, he's a fucking poser by all definitions.
I am a poser.
You are, because you are so obsessed with that idea of people knowing that. When Ron's, nobody needs to know that. As a matter of fact, it's more beneficial that people don't know that.
I know that. But
you should not be going around telling every person you meet, "Hi, I'm a black belt." Where is that element?
How much I agree with him.
Yeah, where is that element of? I like people to underestimate me. If you underestimate me, I have the advantage.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Ron, I'm curious as to why do you feel the need to make that known?
Should I lie down on a couch and you have out a notepad?
I would like to know that also. Why do you feel the need to make that known?
Well,
I mean, it's not your identity.
No, if we're going to go into the psyche and the reality of things, it's because I think I feel the need to be needed when I didn't feel that growing up. I really didn't. If you were bullied growing up and you didn't fit in, now you have and I guess that's where the poser comes part in. I mean, on that part is now that I can belong to something bigger. And I can say that with that said, that I can be accepted, right? When you grow, and this goes out to also the LGBTQT community, right? Is when you're growing up, right? And for that matter, anybody, that you can't be accepted by anybody. You kind of, you finally find a sense of purpose for it. So you want everybody to know, hey, accept me for me. Right?
Yeah, but the community that you're talking about is not a huge community. I mean,
no,
if the majority of the people that you talk to are not going to be black belts or have ever taken a martial art.
No, you see, you're seeing it from that point of view, and I agree with you. However, from this point of view, it's like there's this sense of, oh wow, you're a black belt, and
I don't think that happens. Honestly, I don't think there's that sense at all. I don't think anybody thinks that. Do you think anybody thinks that?
I see it more times than you think. I really do. And you know what? You're right. It's a poser move on my part. I totally agree with you. I really do. And I've been working on great strides to keep it quiet. I really have. I'm not good at it.
He's just like, really want to say that I'm a black belt right now. I'm just going to bite my lip.
Exactly right. No, you're exactly right.
Every time you meet somebody, hi there, my name's Ron's, and He's like Flo, the progressive person. Like, oh, it's a Flo. Let's see how long you can go without talking about progressive. Wow,
You're
this
exactly
weather we're
right.
having right now. It's
I won't
pretty.
deny that.
It's pretty humid out there. I've been sweating a lot in my pits. And progressive, can you put money on your car insurance? I'm a black belt.
You're exactly right. I wanted to be, I want to be something bigger. I am not the ambassador to karate. Right?
Are you
or
not?
martial arts.
Who's more well known internationally in your style than you are at this point in time? No one.
A few people,
I don't think so. I don't think. Do they have podcasts? Are they heard throughout the world? I don't think so. I don't think
Actually,
so.
they are.
Well, let's pretend that they're not.
No. However, I do have a bit of I maybe a subconscious arrogant, maybe a narcissistic streak that says, look at me. So that makes me a poser. And I've been really working hard not to bring that out, right? Drawing from my own experience, saying, hey, this is what it was like. When you take a step back, you look at the self-realization, what a poser or someone who exaggerates the truth or doesn't let in and let them believe that, it goes downhill really fast.
What? Oh, Rons.
Yeah, Rons. But yeah.
Hey there, members of the Great Slaptail Nation. It's me, the Beeve Man, and I'm here to deliver you a message from beyond the stars about our sponsor for this episode, Swiss Navy. No matter who you love or how you love, Swiss Navy products set the bar for sexual enhancement. There's more glide, more comfort, and even products for longer-lasting pleasure. Swiss Navy has a wide range of premium products to choose from for whatever amount fills your hole, if you know what I mean. My favorite product is Swiss Navy's Silicone Lube. Get it, use it, love it, and never be dry again. Once again, that's Swiss Navy at SwissNavy.com. And in your order comments, let them know the Slaptail Squad sent you. Swiss Navy, no matter who you love or how you love. Adios, mooch fuckos. I think the other important thing to remember, though, Rons, is the more you tell people you're a black belt, if you get your ass kicked, people are going to be like, that dude was a black belt. You're right. I would rather be underestimated. I don't run around telling people I'm a black belt.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Right.
Now, what? Back to my other issue, because I'm going to harp on this. Here's the other thing that bothers me. Issues? No, here's the other thing about it's the same subject we were talking about. Here's the other thing that bothered me. This person posted a picture, again, basically saying what year it was and this long hard mission that we were on. Blah 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 blah. Okay. I was in that picture. The person who posted it didn't know what year it was. Basically said, we were on this long mission, whatever. I did the mission. I actually did the mission. It was a 14-day mission, 5-man long-range surveillance team training mission in Germany called Long Strike. Okay, I did the mission. This person was a cook. Why are they acting like their life was so fucking hard when they were staying on the base and I was out in the woods living outside for 2 weeks? Admittedly, it was fun for me because that's what I wanted to do. But why are you posing like you were something else? It bothers me. And don't put my picture up. Not only did this person put my picture up, but they didn't tag me on it. I just happened to see it because they're friends of the Slaptail Nation. And I was like, how many times are you going to post that picture with me in it? Anywho.
Once again, it's recognition that it's part, I'm trying to put it in words. I really am.
I think what you're trying to say is it's validating for people to have a picture with the Beef Man. Is that what you're trying to say?
You're exactly right.
I've been looking at it all wrong. I've been thinking that this person is promoting themselves to be something that they're not, but really they're saying, I know the Beef Man. Is that what you're thinking?
That's it.
So they probably should have tagged me as Slaptail Squad or Slaptail Nation.
Yeah, they should have.
Well, then that would have
No,
then
what?
I've overreacted, and I
No,
apologize.
I don't think you overreacted. You wanted your recognition, and you didn't get it.
No.
You
I
should
didn't want.
react.
No, I didn't want my
no,
recognition.
No.
Tremonde, help me out. Help me to help me help Ron's.
Please do.
Help me to help Ron's. Tremonde, please.
Oh, Ron. I wonder how many times do we just say, "Oh, Ron"? I don't want to go back and just count.
You know what? That should be your next soundbite from Tremonde. Oh, Ron.
No, not like that. He wants it done in a different way.
Oh,
right.
Ron's.
You sick motherfucker. Please explain it to me,
You know,
Tremonde, please.
I
Please,
wonder.
please.
I really wonder why. As you were saying, like, why is it that people do that? And I feel that it's intentional. Like, you're lying. You are intentionally phrasing things, tagging lines and statements, and making it to be what you know it's not.
well, I wouldn't say what you know it's not. It's what they're not telling you.
That's right,
And
Ron's.
like the B-Man-
That's what Ron's. You're right, exactly, Ron's. They're just not saying anything. They're letting you think whatever you want to think.
And when the B-Man called out that one guy, he had to fill in the details. In fact, we just had a POTUS just like that, who would stir up the pot and get people against each other. And he would say one thing and then he would do another, or he would lead you to believe that these people were going to do a certain thing, but no one ever questioned him on his bullshit. And when he did, he would switch up the story.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean
that was the ultimate poser.
Oh, for sure. I mean, but he didn't care if he changed the story. That's the thing.
No, he didn't.
He flat out would lie. He
Capital
just
Riots
flat out
were-
lie, and you could play it back to him and be like, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Capital
whatever.
Riots were that. All right.
Well, I think it's
So-
about that time because
Is it
I do
now?
have a question. I think it's time for Pride Side Chat with Tremonde, Sexual Chocolate, our own personal pudding pop.
Oh, that was awesome.
Well, Tremonde, this week I have a question for you. Ron's didn't have a question. Actually, Ron's had a question, but it was the same question he already asked. So it's really probably a good idea that Ron's and I always meet up first. He's like,
Yeah,
I came up with this great
know,
question.
and I'll get to it later.
I came up with this great question, B man. I just want to make sure I haven't asked it before. Yes, Ron's, you did. That is a question that you've asked before.
But I do have a follow up to that question.
Not right now.
So
My question first. Tremonde, speaking of posers, what do you think about the people who pose as if they're gay, but they're not?
ooh.
Oh, wow.
Because it's trendy.
You know, is it?
Are we talking more or less? Now we're excluding actors.
No, why would we exclude actors? Oh, you mean in an active role?
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that.
Ron,
Jesus. Oh, Ron's.
And the thing is this was a legit question.
Yeah, it was a
by
legit
Ron.
question, and yeah, it was. He actually meant that. He didn't mean that. He's like, he really wanted. Just let me get this clear. Let me make sure that we understand this question. There's a really funny. Have you guys ever watched Community? Have you ever seen that show, Community?
I have not.
It's about this
No.
group of adults who go to community college, and it's just silly. It's goofy. There's an episode where one of the characters thinks that she's going to make friends with somebody who's a female who she thinks is gay, and she thinks it makes her this enlightened feminist to go make friends with this person who's gay. And she makes a big deal of it as if it's super, super cool, right? So she goes and makes friends with him. They're friends, and they make a big deal out of it. And it ends up where they sort of are kind of like dating. And see, the other girl thought she was gay, but she wasn't gay. And that girl thought that person was gay, but she wasn't gay. They just thought it was cool to have a gay girlfriend, which was pretty funny.
But they weren't gay.
But they weren't gay. Neither one of them were gay. They both assumed that the other person was. And it would be cool to have a gay friend.
Interesting.
So I know that there are people out there that pose
And
to be gay because they think that it will further their agenda in some way.
Yeah. And I personally have never met someone who was straight but was posing to be gay. But I think the way that a person will respond to it, I guess it would depend on their experience of coming out, if you will, as gay. For someone who has this just been who they were and it was never a struggle in any aspect, they don't necessarily give thought to it, may not necessarily be offended by it because they too just look at it like what? Like, what's the big deal about it? This is just who I am. As opposed to someone who had blood, sweat, and tears getting to the place that they were, and then for someone to just act as if there's something that they're not. And from that perspective, it's like you don't understand the struggle of it of a person who's gay, but that's not everyone's struggle, you know. So
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not saying that somebody was going to come out and say that they're gay, but never correcting people when they assume that they're gay in order to
Yeah.
further an
Once
agenda.
again, it goes back to we're not going to fill in the blanks until you ask. That's really what it's all about at some point. You know, no one's ever going to question you until you actually go out and someone confronts you.
Well, that
So
was
my
my
follow-up-
gay question.
So my gay question is,
We gotta
right,
stop calling
and
it.
it's
We
not-
gotta stop calling it our gay question.
oh, okay.
I forgot
my
to throw
question
it,
for
and I forgot
Monday-
to say this too. I forgot to say, you guys are never going to learn anything by listening to us. We're sorry if we offend you, but we're just a bunch of idiots having fun. So we do ask stupid questions, and that's why we have Tremonde to rein us in when we ask him stupid questions. And he's always a good
Yeah.
sport by listening to our stupid questions. But mine are not as stupid as Ron's questions.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
correct.
yeah. So, can you turn off gaydar?
I can't even.
So,
Oh, Ron's.
a few podcasts back, we discussed that gaydar actually exists, but can
No,
you
I
turn
said
it
no.
off?
Tremonde. Long pause from Sexual Chocolate. Because he can't believe the questions that Ron's asks. But it shouldn't surprise him yet. I don't know why you're still surprised by these questions.
I don't know. This one really stunned me. No, Ron, it's not something that you can turn off.
So when you're out in a crowd, let's say with a bunch of friends, you can, once again, you're like, oh, he's gay, or they're straight, or whatever.
I think that what happens with Tremonde is his penis acts like a divining rod. And it just points to gay people, to gay men. And then if it's a gay woman, it just drops. It drops straight down. Or a straight woman, it just drops straight down.
Or becomes a turtle.
Yeah, or just sucks back
So
in.
if you're
Pops
at
out his butt.
Applebee's now,
You know, Ron, it's honestly something that
I don't think it works anymore.
it for me it's just like a natural response, just as it is when I walk into a room and I scan the room to see if I'm the only person of color. Like it just
wait, whoa, back up. You're a person of color?
Ronz, I don't know if you know
Okay,
this.
no,
Let me throw this out to you. I'm not trying to offend you, Ronz. But if you keep insisting that you ignore the fact that Tremonde's black, you're actually ignoring him.
I know. Isn't that great?
Do you know what I mean by that?
No, what do you mean by that?
That means you're ignoring what he is.
His
He's
identity?
black. He's black. Just like I'm brown. If you say you ignore color or you don't see color, one, that's bullshit. Everybody does.
What? Okay.
And two,
right,
I don't want you to
all,
not see.
Let me say something on that.
I don't want you to not see me. I don't want you to not see me as a brown man.
No, let me argue my point here, right? Because you bring that up, right? And when you're in the military, you're not allowed to see color. You're a cohesive unit. That's it. That's your battle buddy, as you said, right? Who's your buddy? Who's your pal? The bead man protects his ass. I get it, right? So you don't see color. You just see green or olive drab or whatever, right? But why is it that we've got so far fucking right to the society that we have to identify everybody as a color, right? When I see Tremonde,
because we want to be identified as, because that's what we're telling. If I'm telling you I want to be seen as a brown man, don't tell me you don't see me as one.
White than a marshmallow. Well, with the filters on.
Oh
Okay.
God.
But the thing is,
okay, fine. I'm just speaking for myself. I'm just speaking for myself.
I get the struggle with the identity. I get the struggle with the with everything associated with it. But I see Tremonde, and please don't be offended, but not as a man of color or a gay person, but as my personal friend. And that's all I will see him at until someone points out that he's black. Well, why do you got to bring that into it? Well, he's gay. Why do you got to bring that into it? Tremonde is one of my better friends on this podcast, if not in real life.
There's only four of us. Tremonde, you're one of my better friends on the podcast.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah,
and you're one of the four.
One of the 5, 6, 7. But when I see him for him, and that's all I see him for him. That's it. I don't see anything that would define him as a person of color or gay. He is a friend of mine.
Okay, but my counterpoint is for me personally is if you don't see my color, I find that offensive.
Yes, because when people say things such as "I don't see color,"
yeah,
to me that's and I'm not saying this about you. This is trying to say I am not racist.
Yeah, but by saying that, does that make somebody racist?
But you're saying you don't
because just like you just said, like in the army, you all were taught to not see color, and that's because at that point, color was seen as something wrong. So black was seen as wrong, and whites were seen as something different. So they're saying, don't see color, don't see the blacks as something wrong because they're fighting on our same team. But we're not necessarily.
No, that was a general of everybody. It wasn't just the blacks or the whites. It was in general.
But that's what I'm saying. We're looking at it for race, and we're not necessarily looking at it for character or anything else besides race.
Okay, I get that.
We know that y'all hate each other, but while y'all out there, we need y'all to not see that the person next to you is a black person.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what Ron's is saying. Ron's is saying that you're one cohesive unit, one cohesive team. They told us the same thing in the Army. We're all green. Yeah. That's what they say in the Army. We're all green. We're all green. I understand that. We're not in the Army. So if somebody identifies me and they don't, if somebody tells me they don't see color, I'm like, we are racist. Because if you don't see me as a brown man, how I identify myself, then you don't need to see me.
Okay, with that said, then
yes,
I identify you as a friend.
Just don't tell me you don't see color. That'll be fine. Just don't tell me that.
Because he's not necessarily like looking for you to like recognize him for being a brown man. He's just saying like just don't say that you don't see color. I remember I used to tell my camp staff that like I don't see color. Yes, I do. I need you to see color because there are going to be some of these African American kids come here and they're going to need lotion because they're ashy.
Yeah, we're ashy.
Their skin is dry. Like I need you to see who they are. Don't look past that. It's okay, but to act like it's not there, that's like trying to say, as B-Man said, like, oh, look at me. I'm not racist. I don't see you to be something different because.
So, do you think in our society that we've gotten too far to the right or the left of that statement?
No, okay. Let's just take health disparity as an example. If I said that I don't see color, that means that I'm going to see a white male, a black male, an Asian male, a Hispanic male, an Indian male, all the same way when their health complications are all different. But I'm going to treat and everything is treated based on a white male, not even on a white woman.
Okay,
everything in medicine is based off of studies done initially with white men who have different genetics than I have, who have different health disparities that I have, who have different health disparities than black people have, Asian people. Native Americans, my God, they have the worst health disparities. You can't treat a Native American and expect them to have the same level of health as a white person and say, I don't see color. That's the difference. It's like, no, you have to see it. You have to treat it a specific way.
You just had a Bishop Beefman moment.
Thank you.
Bishop. Oh, is the mother going to come out?
I started to do it too.
Oh, remember, you're not going to learn anything by listening to us, and we're not trying to be too serious. I'm just saying.
No. But that was well said. That was well said.
You're right. It opens up the eyes. In fact, I think that in its context needs to be stated a lot more in our society than just my simple statement of, I don't see color. You have to see color. You're exactly right. And the way you put it was excellent. So kudos to the Beef Man.
Thanks, Rons.
I know, you can't take a compliment.
Thanks, Rons. To get a compliment from a white man is... It's a pretty big deal for the man.
It sure
It's a
is.
big win. It's a big win. It really is. Anyway, sorry for getting too serious there, Slaptail Nation. You know how we are.
That was good.
Sometimes we go off on a tangent. And I'm not degrading.
that.
I'm not demeaning Ron's in any way. I'm just telling him
Well,
how I feel.
people tune in for that. Let's face it.
On the flip side of that, Ron's, you know, all of my brown family still think that I'm super white, and that really hurts. Because I'm not. Because I'm not all white either. So I just don't fit in. Tier.
We'll
Anyway.
identify you as whatever you want to be identified as.
Mocha.
It kind of reminds me of what is
Caramel. Prefer caramel.
the Fifth Element.
You like to
right?
bring up the Fifth Element a lot. Is it just because the
That's
chick
one of my
looks hot
favorite
with all
movies.
the bandages or whatever that outfit?
Yeah. Yep. But when he goes, when he's being identified, he's like, I identify as a meat popsicle or something like that.
Good reference, Rons. We're all tracking with
Anyway.
that one. I'll track it with one.
Yes, you are.
Anyway,
That's okay.
well, we
Anyway.
didn't really have that much time to talk about my other thing that I was annoyed about. No, we got time. We got time. Thanks for answering that question, though, Tremonde. You'll have to think about that one. The other thing that bothers me is that everybody deciding all of a sudden that for the past few years that it's okay, you know, to start trying to identify as a geek or a nerd when Rons and I have been that our entire fucking lives, and I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of tired of people trying to I'm kind of tired of people trying to adapt our culture or trying to say that they've been like that forever. I'm like, bullshit.
And it goes back to being accepted, right? Once again, by society. I mean, look at the movies growing up that society. When you got Revenge of the Nerds, one of my favorite movies, right? How they were the outcasts, and at the end they were top of the line, right? And they did everything. They tried to fit in. Right? So, growing up, it's like reading comics or watching shows or being a sci-fi freak, right? You were definitely poser, right? You try to fit in, but you couldn't, and you didn't find your group until later in life. So
yeah, but I just feel like there's so much out there of where people are trying to assimilate into our culture as if they were always there. Like, oh, now it's cool to be a geek or a nerd. I'm like, okay, but I've been that my whole life, and now you've decided that over the past couple of years you're going to become one. Like, you could still stay yourself, and we could still be geeks and nerds, and it's okay. You don't have to try to absorb our entire culture because you think it's cool. What happens when it's not cool? And then you've decided you're not a geek or a nerd anymore?
Well, I think posers also go with the current trend, whatever makes them popular.
Well, that's what I mean.
Too.
If it's cool to be a geek or a nerd right now, there's all these people trying to adapt, trying to put out their tendrils and their dendrites and their pseudopods and trying to engulf our culture of being nerds and geeks. I've been one for freaking, 45 years.
So then is it that people can't change?
No, I'm just saying they're going to change right back. As soon as the trend goes away from that, they're going to switch to something else.
Would you say
I'm still going to be a nerd.
Yeah. Would you say that it's also applied to the current craze of the LGBTQ?
Why are you bringing it back around to that? I don't know. How did you bring it back around to something that you still can't say? Are we going to have to make a Sesame Street song for you so that you can figure it out? Is that what we're going to have to do?
All right, you're right. But you're right. I can't say the letters. I will learn the right letters. Right. However, right now it's the current trend to stand behind it. Well, it's also the real short answer is it's really cool to have a gay friend. And once the trend is over, are we still going to have Tremonde? And I would say yes, but are other people going to have
shit? What the shit is that?
Well, right now it's like everything is going to.
Do you think right now it's cool to have a gay friend? Do you think that the United States has become so open-minded that it's cool to have a gay friend?
No.
Okay, then that's why I'm lost on what you're saying.
No.
That's why I'm lost on what you're saying because I'm like, I don't think
we
it
are
is.
Such a closed-minded society in this country. It's just, oh my gosh, no.
Oh, good, because you confused me for a second.
But then, like when people say that, like those kind of statements, like I feel like that's close-minded. That's not like I need to make sure I have a black friend in my circle, so that I can say
Circle.
I have a black friend,
What about a brown friend?
or a brown friend,
All right. White friend?
tan,
I could be tan.
beige.
I could be beige. I could be purple. I could be hurtful.
Like milky.
You haven't heard that song?
Anyway.
No,
okay. So
Hey.
Tremonde, you were starting to say that I'm wrong because I won't accept people trying to be geeks. Is what you're saying? It's okay for you to say that I'm wrong.
I look at it as
you say that I should welcome them in. You're saying that I should welcome them in, even though they don't know anything about Batman. They don't know anything about Star Wars.
The thing is, you don't necessarily have to welcome them in if they're not necessarily asking to be in. So I feel that what they now experience and their understanding of being a geek is different than what your understanding and perception and experiences has been. So what they're experiencing is something different than what you experience. It just happens to carry the same name.
Fine, I'll let them in. But I'm not going to talk to them about football. I'm not going to talk to them about football. Or cars.
Tremonde, what do you think? Yeah,
or NASCAR.
Tremonde, what do you think a geek is? Well, he won't answer the question, so he doesn't know.
What do I think a geek is?
Yeah.
Oh, let's ask him a better question. Here's a better question. When you met me, what was your perception? Did you assume that I was a nerd when you met me?
A nerd, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. How about Ron's?
I thought you were a badass.
Well, you can still be a badass and be a nerd.
I never thought of you as a nerd until I got to really know you. I always thought of you as a badass.
What did you think I was?
I did a badass. I just said that.
I used to come in wearing comic book shirts all the time.
Everybody fucking does that nowadays.
Yeah, but I'm actually
appropriated our culture.
Yeah, but I didn't appropriate our culture. It was my culture.
I agree, but I didn't know that.
I don't think that I exude that.
And you barely said 2 or 3 words to me.
I'm not talkative
until we got into the podcast. Really,
I mean, because I don't talk to people.
I knew you through.
They annoy me.
I knew you through the Swan and the Boy, but that's about it. I didn't know you beyond that.
I'm a little sad that you didn't think I was a nerd, Rons, but that's fine.
I always thought you were a badass.
What does that mean?
That means, well, if you're going to call me out on it, I did go. I went to your showdown test. I filmed it actually, right?
That's creepy. And did you spank it later when you watched it?
Right.
Were you spanking it?
I also went to your Neon test too, and I think I filmed that too for you guys. But however, when I was watching it, I'm like, wow, I already thought you were pretty good, but watching you do this test, I didn't realize you were a geek. I just saw the badassery in you because I saw what you did for your test. I thought it was pretty impressive, and I left it at that. I didn't know you were into comics. I didn't know you were a doctor. I didn't know anything about you other than what you let people show. It goes back to what we said earlier too. What are you willing to reveal? And then once you reveal it, that's where it stops, unless you ask more questions. And I didn't ask any more questions other than what I just saw.
Fair.
That's it.
All right. Well, I won't be insulted that you didn't think I was a nerd. But you can be a nerd and be a badass, by the way.
Oh, I agree.
You can be a geek and be a badass.
I did.
Thanks, Tremonde.
You did?
I thought you were a nerd and a geek.
And I don't find that insulting. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's like, when I heard Tremonde.
Better question. Why is that, Tremonde?
Yeah. Why is that?
Yeah, Tremonde. Why is that? Now I'm insulted. I'm insulted that Ron didn't think that I was. Now I'm insulted that you did.
As far as you being a nerd, like your understanding of medicine, I've always admired. And
well, God, I would hope so. It's my career. I kind of need to know some shit. It's always a good idea.
Yeah. So like I was like, okay, like he's smart. And then I think like the first time I saw you in like a setting where you were not necessarily in any type of work uniform,
which is mostly,
and you had on like a Star Wars t-shirt, and I was like, oh, he's a geek. And then I was like, all right, I can see that.
Trueness.
So yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I always thought Tremonde when I first, because until I got to meet him, was this mythological person because the way you guys always, he gives the best hugs. He understands everybody. He gets along with
Why are
everybody.
you
I'm
changing
like,
the way you
no,
talk right now? Why is that?
I'm
Why
not.
are you
I
not?
didn't. No,
And why did you put up the green screen?
the green screen's always been there. You just noticed it?
Was
No,
it?
it's there
Yeah.
and then it's gone. It's there and it's gone. It fell down for quite a few episodes.
But now your hair looks green. Oh, is that your headphones? I don't know.
Yeah, my hair is actually gray, so it picks up the color behind me.
Hmm.
But back to what I was saying, it's like, you were this mythological person that, Tremonde gives the best hugs. He understands everybody. He gets along with everybody, right? And I'm like, there is no one that perfect other than the Beeve Man. And when I finally met you, there is this perfect person. In fact, when we were having an outdoor podcast and the Beeve Man, the Beeve Man and the Swan,
I think I
were
know why.
yelling.
I'm pretty sure I know why Ron's likes Tremonde so much.
I don't know how the VJJ works.
That's why.
But
If
when
you have
watch
no
the Beeve Man and the
understanding,
Swan go at it, you were sitting there. You're like, no,
Eat your
let
butt
them go at it. And then once one of them calmed down, you're like, this is what they really meant. I mean, you put your counseling skills right in front of me, and I watched it, and you were just excellent with it. So the hype was there, everything. So you
Thank
were
Ron.
actually you're actually the real deal. So I was really happy to know that.
Far from it. But thank you.
yes, thank you, Ron's. Well, Ron's, I always thought you were a nerd and a geek.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I know that's a compliment. You should be thankful.
I just said thank you.
I know. I'm just saying that you should be. Thank you very much. All right. Well, I guess what have we learned? I guess we've learned that maybe I'm being too critical. Am I being too critical?
Oh, and then I don't know what the VJJ is.
That's true. We already knew that. The question is this: should I really feel like I have to call this person out. Not on social media, but I kind of feel like I need to text her and be like, you know what? At least don't put my picture up. Don't put my picture up in some context as if because you want people to comment, you want people to say stuff, blah, blah, blah. First of all, you're basing everything on the knowledge that most people don't know anything about the military at all anyway. Plus,
and they don't. Actually, they don't.
I know that's what
Most people don't know anything.
Literally just said that. And then there's a high percentage of people that were in the military that didn't do a specific job, so they wouldn't know what you did anyway. Okay, fair. But there's enough people in the military who were in the military who are veterans that know that when you were in as a female, you were not doing hardcore badass shit because it wasn't allowed. The only combat troops we had as women back then were the helicopter pilots. Pretty much. That's it. There weren't ground troops as women. The only combat, quote, troops were like our helicopter pilots. So she could probably stop posing just a little bit. So I'm a little annoyed by it. In the grand scheme of things, does it hurt me in any way? Absolutely not. Does it affect my life in any way? No. But it doesn't mean I'm not annoyed. Because I don't pretend like I was anything badass. I tell people all the time, like, yeah, I wasn't a badass. People who served with me know that I was not a badass. I was just average. Not below average, just average. Above average? Yeah,
No,
probably
I
not.
understand.
Nah, probably not.
I understand.
I mean, I didn't walk
Also,
around with a big
right.
black hose in my hand, spraying shit all over people. I didn't do that. I
No,
didn't
once
spray.
again,
I didn't
like I
spray
said
fuel
earlier-
on people and then strip them down and throw them in a shower. I didn't do things like that.
So
There you go.
what's average?
About 6 inches.
Ooh,
Is it?
If that's true, then it's below average. 6 inches. I don't think that's the human average. I really don't. I don't think so. Anyway, what's average? What's average? I don't know. It's just like a regular soldier who does their job and comes home and doesn't do anything above and beyond and doesn't go to different schools and doesn't have, specialized training. Just average. Doing a job. I would say that the only thing that makes me slightly above average is the jobs that I did. And not because it was anything on my own. It's just how I happened to be assigned to do different things.
Jeez.
So, I wasn't above average because of my own personal ability. I was above average compared to other people just because of where I was assigned. Nothing that I did. There you go. But I will not tolerate people talking shit if they haven't done anything. That I will not tolerate. And just a word to the wise, to all you people out there. Don't ask a person who was in the military if they saw combat. If you screw up and do ask them that question, please don't ask them if they've killed somebody. Those aren't appropriate questions. Please don't say things like, well, good thing you made it back in one piece. Don't say shit like that. Don't say all that stupid shit. I don't say that
I
shit.
think my go-to question now is because I've worked with a couple of vets at where I work, and one of them really opened my eyes. He said no one checked on him as far as his mental state. So every now and then, I'll go up to one of my military buddies at work, right, or acquaintance more or less. I'll say, "How's your mental doing today?"
You say, how's your mental doing today? You may want to phrase it differently. That just seems really strange.
I don't think so.
How's your mental doing today?
Yeah.
You could just say, how are you? If you know what I mean.
That's for the average person, not the military.
Yeah, but if you already have this relationship with him, you could probably just say, how are you today? You don't have to say, how's your mental doing?
Once again, it just,
I'm just telling you from a healthcare professional standpoint.
Yeah.
If you already have that relationship with him, you could probably just say, hey man.
Yeah, I know I could, but I'm not.
How are you today?
But it mainly targets and goes in and says, hey, listen, if you need to talk, I'm here.
Okay, that's fine. So but I don't think you need to say, how's your mental today?
That's you. That's why you're there and I'm here. And I go and I say,
I just think it's really odd that you won't take my advice by virtue of what I do for a living. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, I'm offering it to you.
To a geek?
Well, because my communication skills have to be at a certain level because I talk to people who suffer from behavioral health conditions on a regular basis. And there's certain things that I wouldn't think that you should say. And if you already have that relationship with them, you could just say, hey man, how are you today? He knows what you're talking about. You've already established that relationship. You've already established that relationship. So he knows he can talk to you.
I see your point. However,
if you don't see my point. If you see my point, you wouldn't say however.
However, that is
you're just not gonna do it. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm just gonna keep saying, how's your mental?
But when I've asked that question, they tell me. Now everybody's got a signature way of talking, and I agree with maybe I should downplay it a bit. But
I mean, you really should because other people could be listening, and you're saying, "How's your mental?"
No one's listening when I'm talking to anybody else. In fact, right when I talk to people, no one listens anyway. So what's the point?
We listen. We just shake your head at at the things that you say.
Amanda, you have to weigh in on this because you can tell you're in deep thought.
Yes, Tremonti. Please weigh in.
From a counseling standpoint,
yes,
I think it's offensive.
But once again, I have a better rapport with the person than.
But if you have a good rapport with him,
all right,
that was what I said. You've already established this relationship.
From your professional points of view, I get it.
If you get it, then why do you keep fucking arguing about it?
Why are you stripping me of my identity? But I get it. I I do.
I feel like you don't.
No, I understand.
It's like you're labeling them as like bipolar. Like, who are you going to show up as?
No.
That's what you're asking. Saying, how's your mental?
No, that's the way you're interpreting it. See, that's once again about the poser ideal is that you're interpreting what I'm saying to fit your needs, right? So if you're a professional liar, right, I'm going to let you interpret my way of thinking what you think is right.
Let him go on this tangent.
But
I'm interested to hear about it.
But I understand what you're saying. I should say, or in your professional opinion, I just say, listen, how you doing today? Right? And that's not wrong. It really isn't. It's just the way I word it, and apparently that's offensive because apparently that's offensive, right?
I don't think it's offensive. I'm just saying, well, I mean, Toronto says it's offensive. I don't think it's offensive. I just think that if you've already established this relationship with this person and you truly care how they're
I
feeling,
do.
then if you say to them, hey, man, how are you today? They know what you're talking about. You know, I don't think you have to say, how are you mentally today? I don't think you have to say
Well,
that.
that stems from the conversation I had with the person that he's ex-military, and no one asked him how his mental or how he was that day. He went through PTSD
Because most people
I guess.
don't say, how's your mental status today?
Well,
So
would
I
you
first of all,
fucking let it
no,
go?
first of all,
Well, no, seriously. I mean, because this guy was having such a rough time, and he said no one ever asked him how his mental or how his mental state was. No one.
Raj,
when
why do
finally
you think that
someone
is?
did-
Why do you think that is? I'm just asking
I
you
don't
why.
know.
I mean, no, here's what I want you to do. Now, what I want you to do is look at it as a 30 part. Look at it as you looking from the outside at the situation.
Yeah.
Should I be mad that nobody's asked me how my mental status is? Is that a topic that people typically ask you about? Do people typically say, what's your mental state like today? How can you be mad about something that is not a common thing that people ask? If you're mad about something that is not I read this article where this veteran was mad that somebody didn't say to them an entire day, nobody said to them, thank you for your service. They were so mad about it that a local newspaper wrote an article about it. I was like, why? Is that something that people typically have to say? First of all, if they don't know you're a veteran, how are they supposed to say it? And it's the same thing with this. Like, well, I'm upset because nobody's asked me how my mental state is today. That's not something that comes up in a common conversation. So you shouldn't be mad about something that doesn't commonly happen. Now, if you're like, I'm a little bummed that nobody's asked me how I am today, or I'm a little bummed that nobody said hi to me today, that's a little bit different. But no, people don't walk around going, I've never gone up to somebody and said, how's your mental status today? Or what's your mental state today? I've never done that. Never in my entire life have I ever done that. And I've known people with PTSD. I've known people with bipolar disorder. I've known people with personality disorders, borderline personality disorders, schizoaffective disorders, schizophrenia, all kinds of things. I've never gone up to them and said, conversationally, what's your mental state today? And I don't think any of them would be mad that I didn't go up to them and say, what's your mental state today? It's not a common question. Having said that, you do you. I'm just saying, if you've already established a relationship, why do you need to say that?
All right, I see your point.
And
I
if he's hurting that much, you're not going to give him the support he needs anyway.
You're right. You're probably right, but you're also, I could point him in a direction that might be able to help him.
Yeah, I mean, if you really needed help, that's what I would do. Still be his friend, still be there for him, but never take on that role for yourself. It's,
and I would probably say, listen, you want to talk to Tremonde, he's a really good hugger.
Probably. I mean, you could just direct him to the vet crisis line, maybe. That just seems like a better idea. It just to me seems like a better idea. I don't know. I mean, there should be a little bit of training involved if you're gonna tackle some of those things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I have that part of I've got some of that training, and I personally don't do that in my own personal life either. You know what I mean? Anywho, Tremonde, would you like to weigh in? Is there anything you want to say? You look like you had something to say.
No.
Is your penis going off like a divining rod? Is it
right?
I mean, that's a little bit. It's probably not really. It's not. I mean, I've seen it. It's not going off like this. Sorry.
It's not that small. I looked. The average male.
You have to look this up.
The average male is 5.1 and 5.5 inches.
Yeah.
I'm well above.
Well, and then you also have to look at proportion. Is it proportional also? So if I was 6 foot, you would expect your penis would be a little bit longer than somebody who's 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily, but I mean, if you're thinking about proportion, if you really want to feel good about yourself, look up the average size penis for a silverback gorilla. The largest, baddest ass primate. See how big their dicks are. And we'll wait. We'll wait while he does that quick search. Na 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 na.
We should play a commercial.
Na 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 na.
Yeah, you should have played the Luke
na na
commercial.
na na. Name that tune, Rons. Rons, you don't know that tune? What the fuck?
That's from I Dream of Jeannie.
Yes. Yes, that is correct.
I need to convert it into inches.
Oh my god, seriously?
Because in the metric system, you are super hung.
It just says 3-6 centimeters long.
Yeah, how tiny is that? 6 centimeters. What is it, 2.2 centimeters per inch? Something like that? 2.1 centimeters per inch?
1.5 inches.
The average, the biggest, baddest primate, the silverback gorilla. Scary as all fucking hell. How big is that dick? How big's that D? So know this. Every man that has ever graced this planet, your dick is most likely bigger than a silverback gorilla. So never feel inferior. I mean, true, a silverback gorilla could kill you with one swipe of its hand. So in that instance, your dick size really doesn't matter, but it should make you feel good that your dick is bigger than a silverback gorilla. So once again, your penis bigger than a silverback gorilla. There you have it. All right. Well, I think that I did not learn my lesson, and I'm still mad about posers, but that's okay. That's okay, because why shouldn't I be mad about shit? It's fun. It's cool. It's cool. Now, the question is, what happens when this person figures out who I'm talking about? They would actually have to listen to the podcast to figure it out. But
aren't you the one that said that the podcast is your therapy? So this is good to vent.
It's not even my therapy anymore. It's not my therapy anymore. I don't think. I mean, it is kind of, but really, it's just fun for me now. It makes me happy. So maybe it is my therapy. I don't think I need therapy anymore. I don't think I need therapy anymore.
I think this is my therapy. Right?
I don't need it. I don't need it anymore.
I don't need therapy for it.
I don't need it. But this is my mental. I look forward to doing
this is my mental. Rons, how's your mental today?
Better than hopefully it gets better tomorrow.
I feel like in this particular case, you're using mental as what, an adjective?
Could be.
But it's but it is an adjective, but you're using it like it's a noun. How's your mental today? Right?
Yeah.
Tremonde, help me out.
Exactly.
I'm not an English major. How's your mental? How's your mental? Tremonde? How's your mental?
Oh, Rons.
We'll make that as a soundbite.
As much as we are an idiot podcast, don't take us seriously.
How's your mental?
Is something I can learn from this.
How's your mental?
I appreciate that.
My mental is good right now.
Maybe he thinks that you think mental is penis. Every time you're asking him, you're like, how's your penis today?
No.
No? Maybe his penis's name is mental. And you're just like, how's your mental?
Hang to the right.
Hang to the left, hang to the right. Mine doesn't really hang. It's kind of way up there. It doesn't really. I think it hangs in a particular area.
Let's end this on a positive note.
It just stands straight?
It's just there. No, it doesn't even do that anymore. Most of the time it retreats. It just retreats.
Let's end this on a positive note.
It's actually amazing how small it can get in comparison to when it's erect. I'm like, I'm definitely I'm definitely a grower, not a shower. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing when you realize it. You're like, how can it be like the size of a button 1 second? And then the next second, it's 3 times as large as a silverback gorilla's. No, it's more than that. Wait, I have to do the calculation. It's like 5 times bigger than a silverback gorilla, or 4.5 times bigger, whatever. It is amazing. It really is. It's one of the 8th wonders of the world. How a man's penis can shrink and grow. All the things that you'll learn when listening to the Slaptail Squad. Poor Rons, he's got something to say. Go ahead, Rons.
Yeah.
Close us out.
I get it. So Gay Pride Day is coming up.
Why is it gay? Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna let it go.
I don't know what you would call it, but that's what that's what I remember. But
I think you can just call it Pride now.
Pride Day. Okay, so Pride Day is coming up, and the B-Man
whole
says
month.
Go check it out.
It's a month.
The whole month, Ron.
Okay, it's a month. Whatever. Right? It's a month, a day, an hour. But B-Man said I should check it out. What should I check out?
Oh my God! If you don't go to the drag show, you are missing out, my friend. That is the highlight. That is my most favorite thing to go see.
Okay, I got the drag show. What do you got, Tremonda?
I would say the drag show as well. Drag shows are like an absolute must in any form, fashion. It always makes for a good time.
It's
okay,
rocking good time. Absolutely. And I think if you get tickets now, I think they're only $10 a ticket. If you get it after the 31st, I think they go up to $15. So I gotta get my tickets.
I will see if I have that day
off.
off.
Get a 2-day pass, I think is what they were saying.
What do you expect it to be like, Ron?
I don't know.
Yeah, good question.
I don't know.
Hot.
I honestly, from
hot and humid. That's what's gonna be like.
I've known people that did it, and their experience has always been positive. And from what you guys describe of it, it sounds like a great time. But personally, what to expect, I don't know. I really don't. I can't weigh in on this until I see it. So I'd like to go see it. I mean, even if I've seen it on TV, that takes away from the real life experience or the in-person experience from it. So I won't know until I see it in person.
Is there a type of gay person that makes you uncomfortable?
No, I don't think there is.
Well, he only knows one.
Thing is,
no, he only knows two.
No, I take that back. There is one, right? And that's when.
Am I going to have to bleep this?
No. It's no. You can come up with a better beep. No, it's probably the one where it's like I'm talking and I don't.
I'm sorry, what?
No, I think it's because if I'm talking to someone who's openly gay but doesn't admit.
What? Sorry.
Oh, fuck me running. So, I'm just afraid I'm going to offend anybody who is gay that doesn't come out and tells me they're gay. So I say something.
Well, nobody has to come out and tell you they're gay at Pride Fest. Nobody has to walk up to you and go, "Hey, I don't know you, but I thought you might want to know that I'm gay." I don't think anybody's going to come up to you and do that. Little known fact, some of the T-shirts I wear. Some of the T-shirts that I wear. The reason why I like these T-shirts is I saw somebody wearing them at Pride Fest, and I went right up to him and was like, "Dude, where'd you get that T-shirt? Total nerd shirt." And that's where, thankfully, I got that T-shirt brand from. T-Turtle T-shirts, man. Awesome T-shirts. But no, Ron, people don't have to run up to you and say they're gay,
Ron.
Yes,
Ron, a minute ago, did you say "fuck me running"?
Yes, he did.
I did.
Oh my God.
He indeed. He did say that.
I did say that.
And that's okay. That's okay.
I really want to go to.
I've seen it done on a treadmill.
I really do want to go to these Pride events, and I don't want to say anything because I'm afraid that.
You don't have to say anything. You don't have to go there and say things.
You let me say it because
you don't have to stare.
Stupid.
You don't have to go.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I don't want to gawk either. That makes it like, oh, it's your first time. How could you tell? You're looking weird.
You can you can. I mean, you don't gawk, but you can look. It's okay. There's a reason why. If you see somebody who's like just dressed to the nines, it's okay for you to look at them. It's okay. You know what? It's okay for you to. You know how many pictures I have with drag queens? I have lots.
I don't know.
I have quite a few. Because you know what?
Do you think you make a great looking drag queen?
B-Man, Ron, they like you. They like attention. Most people like attention. If they're dressed a certain way, they kind of like the fact that you admire the way they're dressed. It's like the same thing when you go to a Ren fair. If somebody's dressed like a fawn at a Ren fair, they expect you to pretty much go, "Hey, can I take my picture with you because you look cool?" It's not uncommon. So, I've had people want to take pictures with me. They're like, "Look, a little short brown man. Let's take a picture with him."
So, do you think you would make a great looking drag queen?
I would have to wear a lot of makeup. I'd have to do the double shave on the beard, but I think I could do it. The downside is that to make it work, I would have to get rid of the hair on my legs, and I don't think I would do that. But I think I could pull it off. I think I'd probably actually be better looking as a drag queen than I am as a man.
You would just have to do like a very thick nude color pantyhose.
Yeah, I was going to say that
Yeah,
for your legs.
Maybe
a couple of pairs.
Now, are you what color palette would you use for your body? Are you an autumn, a summer?
I don't even know what that means, so I can't answer that question. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't.
So
it's not something that I actually plan on doing, so I can't really answer that question for you. The question was, would I look good as a drag queen? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
That's the arrogant side of me is going to say, yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, I could.
Okay, sounds good.
Ron's I'm going to say you couldn't.
About this tonight.
Ron's, I'm going to say you couldn't. You would be a very ugly drag queen. I'm going to say, don't,
Thank you.
Don't give it a try. Tremande, right. You could pull it off. You got to shave the beard, though.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Yeah. Or you don't have to. Or you don't have to. There's actually bearded drag. There are,
and some of them look very good.
Yeah,
so they don't come to play. Yeah,
it is a category. Anyway, all right. Well, now that we've thoroughly confused the Slaptail Nation, hopefully you didn't learn anything. Hopefully we made you laugh, because that's all we really give a shit about. Venting, making people laugh, making people think that we're completely ridiculous, because we are. And that's okay. You're not going to learn anything. And here is my little spiel for us. You can find us on Facebook. We're the Slaptail Squad. You can find us on Instagram. We're the Slaptail Squad. You can find us on Twitter at Slaptail1, but it's kind of pointless because I really don't do anything on Twitter except once a week when I post that I was listening to my podcast. You can find us online at theslaptailsquad.buzzsprout.com, and wait for it. Guess what? You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Plus Alexa, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, Deezer, Listen Notes, Player FM, Podcast Index, Overcast, Castro, Castbox, Podfriend, and any other app that you can possibly imagine. You'll most likely find us, except for Pandora, because for some reason they still haven't accepted us, and I don't know why. And that's it. All right. Thank you all so much for listening to us. It's been a pleasure as usual. Thank you. And that's it for me, the Beeve Man, saying adios, mooch fuckos.
From the Ron, stay sane, motherfuckers. It's a crazy world out there. And Tremanda, you got the last word.
Deuces.
I don't know how the JJ works.